Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. Today is March the 11th, 2026. And today's topic, this violent Asian guy, this one relating to this topic, murdered another Asian person, happened to be a woman, when she broke up with him. But again, when it's not about black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime, bad propaganda, then it's shh. Even though in this situation, this is a yellow on yellow crime, yellow on yellow crime, yellow on yellow crime. Oh, but they don't want to talk about that, right? Because again, this mythologicalness of what we call model minority. And that is something that's been going on for a couple of so generations. And not that it was against certain type of predominant culture type personnel, because many of them don't care. Because they said, we don't care what kind of model minority, some of these little, whatever these people are, that who has the power. They come over to our country, not the other way around like that. You see how that goes, right? But something about in this supremacy, which is the most brilliant mental manipulation force that's ever existed. They have also played this little tactic, just like the little nonsensical black on brown coalition, which is a mythological nonsense. You have a better chance to believe Godzilla is real than to sit there and believe that there's a such thing as called black and brown coalition. When you have numbers of black folks, black Americans that have brown skin. I mean, the game is wild, right? Just like, again, this situation with the model minority, mythological versions. Asia is a continent. Let me say this again. Asia is a continent made up of dozens of countries and however many numbers of islands. But in this system of supremacy, they've gotten people just to say genericality Asian under the genericality racial categories without no context, right? And there are certain numbers of Asians that have slid under genericality of Asian card and played little games and got free resources. And numbers of them have showed their blatant anti-Black American rhetoric. I've showed podcasts on that before. Now, this is not about some of the good numbers of Asian person who know they are. And by the way, there are Afro-Asian people. Oh, they don't want to talk about that. Just like people do not want to talk about, watch this, what's going on in Iran. There are many people who don't know Iran is an Asian country. Oh, they don't talk about that. So do you see a lot of Iranian people call themselves Asians? How about Armenians? Armenia is an Asian country. Iraq is an Asian country. You see the game they keep playing, but just say generically Asian and put a generically one, ambiguous one in the front of people's faces, and that confuses quite a number of people. And unfortunately, has confused means within Black Americanism, the one this applies to with few exceptions, right? So because this system portrays a certain way of an Asian personnel with the model minority and the smile in a certain way. How about this? What was that? Yes, yes. And when I'm sitting there looking at stuff like that, I'm like, so you're gonna just pretend when you say Asia, Asia's not a continent, right? And I'm looking like this. Right? Because the super slapping in the faces because of bias supremacy, because they really do think quite a number of people are illogical. There are some people that are logical, but there are people who see through this tactic, right? Now, let me go ahead and share my screen. This is not going to be a long show whatsoever on that, because again, when it's all about black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime, oh, it gets the people's juices flowing. But the minute you start talking about other types of cultures, hate upon hate, their own criminality toward each other, oh, they get quiet. So let me go ahead and right here. This right here. All right, make sure you can see this. Maximize this a little bit. All right, I'm utilizing this as timepiece purposes, what I call, because they know quite a number of people got very extremely short-term memories. I'm not talking about health related. And also I'm utilizing this under fair usage doctrine as well.
In Bucks County, a woman stalked and shot to death a day after ending her relationship with a man from Philadelphia. Now he's facing charges for killing her, shocking the neighborhood where she was found dead in a car.
Got a good neighborhood here, pretty much. Our neighbors are all great people. So this was a tragic thing, certainly, for all of us.
And this is the Fox 29 News at 5. I'm Sheba Russell.
And I'm Chris O'Connell. That man turned himself into police, calling it an accident. Shayna, the victim, had reported to police she had been sexually assaulted by the man just one day before she was killed.
That's exactly right. And that is what's chilling about this story here. We tell domestic violence victims all the time. You hear messages to domestic violence victims to report this. And the fact that she did report it, and not even 24 hours later, she was found killed. And again,
Now, here's the problem, right quick, that when men report being domestically violenced every day, many of them get laughed at. So it's interesting how you got people that play this little idiotic demon game, emotionally riled up tactic. When you say domestic violence, automatically the mentality goes straight to women. Even though I am tired of sitting there, I've relayed this how many times that statistically studies and studies and studies, people have also shown that numbers of women in many cases are just as violent, in other cases more violent than numbers of males in relationships. And what about the alternative lifestyle categories who have some of the especially lesbian relationships, who have some of the highest domestic abuse relationships per the demographics? Oh, they don't talk about that, right? Let's continue. Just want to add that.
mentioned that suspect turning himself in, calling this all an accident. This Ring camera video captures a white SUV driving down Outlook Lane in Levittown, and just seconds later, a silver sedan followed, matching an affidavit description believed to be driven by this man. 32-year-old Yujun Ren, now in police custody after investigators say he stalked his girlfriend, following her from Philadelphia to her Bucks County home Sunday morning. Moments later, neighbors in this tight-knit neighborhood say they heard the unthinkable.
My wife heard a gunshot somewhere around 1:30 in the morning or something like that, or what she thought was a gunshot.
Bristol Township Police say the woman was found shot in the head and left for dead in her car on Outlook Lane, sending shockwaves through the neighborhood.
She was a young lady and very nice. Really sad, so close to home, for this to happen here.
Sergeant Jason Mancuso with the Bristol Township Police Department says Wren initially turned himself into Middletown Township Police. Officers then contacted the Bristol Township Police Department.
A male came into their police station with a lawyer and advised them that there was some type of incident and there was a female that was deceased on Outlook Lane in the Levittown section of Bristol Township.
Investigators telling Fox 29 the two were in a relationship, living together in Philadelphia before things took a turn for the worst.
At some point, the relationship went bad or was not conducive anymore, and the female came back up to Bucks County, and it's believed that the male followed her up here and shot her.
Fox 29 confirming the victim filed a complaint against Wren with the Philadelphia Police Department. According to the affidavit, the victim filed a report after she was sexually assaulted by the suspect just one day before she was killed. In the affidavit, the victim stated she decided to end her relationship with her boyfriend and leave while he was at work that day. Fast forward to Sunday morning, according to police, the suspect followed the victim to her home on Outlook Lane, where he admitted to, quote, accidentally shooting his girlfriend, adding she, quote, said hurtful things and took their cats and dogs, so he took a gun out of his waistband to scare her, and the gun discharged. Neighbors still shaken by the reality of what happened just steps away from their front doors.
We got a good neighborhood here, pretty much. Our neighbors are all great people. So this was a tragic thing, certainly, for all of us. Hopefully, she rests in peace. That's all I could really say.
Now, the suspect, 32-year-old Yujun Ren, is expected to face a judge tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. He faces a slew of charges, including criminal homicide and stalking. We also learned that he did have a concealed permit carry, and he did own at least one gun. As far as the victim goes, she has not been identified until next of kin.
Mm, mm, mm. But at the same time, they want to also keep talking about black and black crime, black and black crime, black and black crime, black and black crime until infinity, right? Even though statistically, the system makes sure, and you got some other nonsensical donkey shit type thinking, certain type people that just regurgitate nonsensical connive numbers, and they have no idea, especially the fleers, right? They had a nerve to flee from Harvard countries and places and get free resources. And anyway, it's another different topic. And the situation with the anti-ISIS out of context scenario, all these different scenarios going on. But when you start talking about criminality for other cultures and backgrounds, they get quiet, right? Because they want to keep the spotlight off of them. The model minority situation is no different. People want to sit there and look at certain Asianness as a model minority and forget they are just as human as other people. And what does an Asian person look like, since Asia is a continent, people? Again, what dozens of countries, various provinces, various towns, right? Various cities, various ethnicities in there, but they just say generically Asian. And unfortunately, there are some sinister type Asians that play that card, right? And that do have an hatefulness of anti-Black Americanism. Oh, you best believe there is. So this situation with this particular Asian guy, a very violent one. And this is yellow on yellow criminality. Again, they don't want to talk about stuff like this. Now, again, they want to show it, certain numbers of Asians looking like this. Model minority myth. It's just that, a model minority myth. Now, what I want to do is just a quick sharing of the screen, because they really didn't say too much. Anyway, let me just show some here. Like that, like the video. This is real fast. The video. Woman, see, they make sure not to talk about certain racial or ethnic concepts, right? Woman, no, she's not a generic woman. She is an Asian woman, whatever background she's from. She filed a sexual assaultness claim on this Philly man, not just a generic Philly man, a Philly particular Asian man, one day before her unalivement. On that, the man has identified as a 32-year-old Yu Ren, a certain section of Asianness. A woman filed a sexual claim. No, an Asian particular woman filed a sexual assault claim against a Philly. We talked about that already. On that, in Levittown on Sunday, I'm going all that. The woman, identified as 28-year-old Yun Lu, was found shot and unalived in a car on Outlook Lane on Sunday, February 8, 2026. The violent type of person was a 32-year-old particular Asian male, Afro-Asian on this situation. Reno turned himself in to such township on that situation. So the thing about it is, they make sure not to sit there and provide the racial context to it. So this is why it's such an important part of doing those type of situations on that, because it's all about black on black crime, black on black crime, black on black crime, when it is convenient for this system in various parts may mean to show this. This is why, again, how they try to portray Black American men are the overallness of violent type of personnel, even though, again, 95, 99% of Black males, again, in 50 states, do not commit murder. They do not commit violence of criminality left and right. Oh, they don't want to talk about that, right? They want to just try to portray Black men and Black American people in general as some criminality. while at the same time being quiet on these various other cultures' criminality toward each other, right? And background hateful that there is no pan-Asian love like that. Now, there are certain people that play pan-Asian love when it's convenient to play pan-Asian love economically to get free resource and benefits, and pan-Asian certain pan-generically Asian love among each other when it's about going against going toward the hatred toward Black Americans, right? But let me sit there and show you something for a second. Last thing.
One thing that Koreans do often that I absolutely despise is looking down on Southeast Asians, that they're somehow not as good, that insult to be mistaken for Filipinos or Thai. And a lot of this comes from Koreans' perception that these countries are poor, they're less developed, which are very outdated perceptions, by the way. And not to mention, Koreans, like many East Asians, idolize pale skin. They tend to just not like darker skin tones.
Oh, they don't talk about that. Even though it's right in people's faces, however numbers of Asians, the one applies to, look upon a more of a paleness of skin as more of a god or goddess is, right? And look at how some of the darker skin melanationness of certain Asians are treated. Oh, they're not treated good whatsoever. Oh, they get quiet about and then have the nerve to flee from certain Asian countries and come over to America, to the one supplies to, and have the audacity to try to look down upon Black Americans. What? When Black Americans helped build this country before many of them even existed? Don't even play that game about well, they built the railroad. How about go to HELL? That was a certain type of Chinese people. That was no Koreans. That was no Vietnamese people. That was no Cambodians building stuff like that. So go to HELL with that game. And Black America was already also building railroads and building up forts and building up various types of society before many of them came to existence. So play that game with somebody else, right? On that situation. Now,
just look at the issue of Copinos, where Korean men go to the Philippines, sleep with Filipino women who become pregnant, and the men just run off back to Korea, abandoning the mother and their children.
Oh, let me play that again. They don't want to talk about that.
Where Korean men go to the Philippines, sleep with Filipino women who become pregnant, and the men just run off back to Korea, abandoning the mother and their children.
Oh, they don't want to talk about that. See, that's one of those. I'm like this again. Oh, y'all don't talk about that. So again, like the black on black criminality out of context mantra, right? They don't talk about numbers of other males, the ones that do that from different cultures and backgrounds who have kids, the ones who do this left and right, and they go leave that culture of women. Oh, they don't want to talk about that. Oh, but black men, they are not responsible. They're always breaking up families and running off. Wrong. It's been shown steadily Black American men overall weight have been more involved than any other culture and background of men in America relating to their relationship with their kid or kids, be it direct in the house or indirect without the house. So go play that game with somebody else. That has been a study or studies done on that part. Because just because someone is sitting there inside a house and that person has to be in this topic on Asian, that don't mean that they sit there and heavily involved with the kids' life. Many are not. It's usually the woman is responsible in this situation, just like some other cultures, right? Oh, but they don't want to talk about that part on that. So that's all I want to relay over on that part of it. And by the way, again, Black American men have been the most inventiveness, been the most patriotic, been the most achievable within within America's history, besides certain numbers of men within the Panamese culture. But at the same time, Black American men have been tried to be relegated to some overall criminality-based person. Oh, they out they freaking mind. But they know it's not enough Black American men, with few exceptions, that are tired of people trying to sit there and portray Black men as some riled up, animosity filled, hatred based, inhuman. And more Black Americans better start sitting there and stop allowing people collectively stop insulting Black American men and Black American personnel in general. I'm not talking about the Sambos and Uncle Toms and Uncle Susan S's and wherever else it is, right? Those are lost causes. There is no such thing as pan-Asian love. That is mythological, like modern minority myth. Again, you have a better chance of sitting there spotting Godzilla than to sit there and believe there's a such thing as true modern minority camaraderie within America. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.